Happy Sunday. Many thanks for joining the program. The news in detail with me, Gloria Mutesi. Starting us off tonight, people in Rubavu district who were most affected by the tremors are now being assisted with different supplies. 4 sectors in Rubavu district were the most affected by tremors, and so far more than 1,800 buildings have been tallied as being seriously damaged. Seshnore kicks us off tonight with this story.
Lava flows from the Nyiragongo volcano in the eastern DRC actually found their way across the border into Rwanda, destroying crops on 3.5 hectares of farmland in Rubavu district. The tremors that followed were far more devastating. As you saw for yourselves, we sleep under that sheeting over there. As for our meals, we are surviving on the actions of well-wishers who give us something from time to time. We are sleeping outside. The entire kitchen collapsed and the walls of all the other rooms are full of cracks. At this point, I have no strength left and I am asking for help. I have no idea how I am going to rebuild my house. You should really help me. Supplies are now being provided for those most affected. Those in urgent need of food supplies are getting them, and other supplies for things like sanitation and other necessities at home are also being included. This is a temporary measure as a long-term solution is sought. We have also rented houses for people whose houses completely collapsed, and tents are being provided for those unable to get houses to rent. The support has been gratefully welcomed. I am very happy now. My children were hungry, and though I tried to construct shelter, I did not have any sheeting to use as roofing. I now have all that, so God bless you. We were sleeping outside, and so we had constructed a makeshift shelter out of twigs with my 5 children. We were using things like old mosquito nets and anything else we could find as a roof. I am therefore grateful that you have given me a sheeting to use and food to cook. May God bless you. The residents must also be assisted to get permanent housing. All of that will be done after the tremors cease completely, so that reconstruction can begin. The equipment will start coming in as we wait for the experts to confirm that the tremors have passed. 4 sectors in Rubavu district were the most affected by the tremors, and so far more than 1,800 buildings have been tallied as being seriously damaged.
Well, staying on the same note, we earlier spoke to Dr. Ivan Kwajirashema, the COO of Rwanda Mines, Petroleum and Gas Board, about, among other things, the reports circulating of a possible explosion from the lava getting in contact with methane gas on Lake Kivu. Take a look.
Yeah, I want to explain a little bit around this basing on the history, because that volcano, it's not the first time we are having eruption of Nyiragongo. So it erupted in 2002, but even before that, and the data we have today, we have been observing that we have a frequency of between 15 and 20 years. So now it took 19 years to get that eruption, and we had that periodicity. So I would say that based on what we observed in 2002 and what we have been checking in different publications done at that time, it's normal that 15 days after the eruption, it's normal that we have earthquakes. So we should understand this like when you pump something and it took 19 years to pump it and get the volcano full of lava. So it's normal that when the lava comes out, it's thousands and thousands of tons at the same time. So it took you 19 years to pump, and then in a second, everything is out. So before it stabilizes, it takes some days to get a stability. So it's that stability which causes those earthquakes people have been feeling all over the country, especially people living in the neighboring area.
Okay, so it's been, I think, slightly after a week since the tremors started.
Yes.
So how much time frame will it be?
At the moment, we still have 1 week of observation. As I told, 15 days based on the history. But also, even in the first week, we started with earthquakes of a magnitude of 5 point something. It has been reducing regularly in frequency, but also in magnitude. So today I observed the data. Most of the earthquakes we had today, they are around 2. We started at 5, they are around 2, and the frequency really reduced drastically. So we still have 1 week because we can't say that we have full control and understand what is going on in the nature. But based on the history, we can base on the data we have already, and we do think that we are going in the right direction.
We've also seen reports that if lava spewed over after the eruption and if it came in contact with the methane gas in Lake Kivu, it could cause a catastrophic explosion. Any comments on this?
That's an option and a possibility, yes, but I want to explain. In 2002, because we want to base everything on experience and what happened, in 2002, the volume of lava which came out of the volcano was so far more than what happened now. Secondly, in 2002, the lava destroyed a big part of the city of Goma and reached Lake Kivu. The lava went in Lake Kivu up to 100 meters inside Lake Kivu. At that time, we didn't see an explosion. Even if it reached Lake Kivu, we didn't see explosion. This time, the lava didn't even arrive in the city of Goma. Most of the destruction we saw came because of earthquakes which happened after eruption, but those earthquakes also are normal. As I explained to you, you put pressure, and when you release everything which was inside, automatically the release will shake all over until the time, after 14 days, until the time there is a stability. Yes, that risk is there if the lava comes up to the bottom of Lake Kivu, where we have water with gases. By the way, people should understand that in that lake, to reach the water which has gas, you have to go under 200, 250 meters, and you continue up to the bottom of the lake. So for that to happen, we need to have the volcano discharging completely everything, destroying Goma, destroying a part of Rubavu, and then later on arriving there, and the lava has to go up to the bottom. Yes, the possibility of that risk is there, but basing also on the history, there are many parameters to be there to happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, as we wind up this interview, in the aftermath of the Nyiragongo volcanic eruption, some geologists have speculated that we could see at some point where the land perhaps between Rwanda and Congo splits into two. Any comments on that?
Splitting also, it's something which is there for 1,000 years. Even the formation of Lake Kivu, Lake Tanganyika, Lake Albert on Ugandan side became from that phenomenon happening. But it's something which happens 1,000 years. I would not say no, it's not separating, because it has started 1,000 years ago, and it's still a process going on. But as on our lifetime being, we will not be able to observe something really big, because they are saying there is 3 centimeters inside the globe, which is separating, but at a speed we will never be able to see, because even if you live 100 years at the speed of that separation is nothing. Yes, it's happening, but it's not something where people will wake up in the morning and then they find that the crack comes there and then it started separating. Okay,
Dr. Ivan Twagirishema, thank you so much for speaking to us.
Thank you.
In other news, the Ministry of Health is urging those who are receiving the second dose of the COVID-19 vaccine to continue their efforts to prevent the spread of the pandemic, saying that there are some people who got infected while waiting for the second jab but are now completely healed. Those receiving the vaccine are confident that they will comply with the regulations given the seriousness of the pandemic. Vaccinations for the second dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine continued this week. Across health centers in Kigali, those that had received information about the vaccinations were seen flocking the health centers for the jab. They acknowledged the stress-free process, where they were not required to go to where they first received their first jabs. They also say that they'll continue with the efforts in stopping the spread of the pandemic. I was listening to Radio Rwanda News when I heard we had received the other vaccines, and then I received a message on my phone. I'm glad I received the second dose after waiting for some time. But just because I am now fully vaccinated doesn't mean that the country is free of the pandemic. I'll continue adhering to the guidelines. The director of the Kagugu Health Center in Gasabo district says based on the progress so far in vaccinating people, the activity might be done in 2 days. We were able to vaccinate 315 people yesterday, and those that had received the first dose are about 967. So this gives us hope that we will vaccinate all of them in the coming 2 days. Most of them are coming from the provinces, and we have their records in the system. The Director of Media Relations at the Ministry of Health, Julie Mahoro Niyingabira, emphasizes that regardless of being vaccinated, people should not be complacent with COVID-19 prevention guidelines.
There has been some cases, yes, and all of them have recovered. And this goes in explaining more about how the vaccine works and how the vaccine protects us. Initially, the vaccine protects people from developing serious disease from COVID, or from the virus. But it's still a possibility that even those who are vaccinated can catch the virus and transmit it. That's why we continue to conduct awareness campaigns around those people who are vaccinated to let them know that preventive measures are still valid even after vaccination.
Rwanda received 247,000 doses of AstraZeneca vaccine, which is administered in an 8 to 12 weeks difference. The Ministry of Health says that more vaccines will be sold to protect 60% of Rwandans by the end of next year. Rwanda's Ministry of Trade and Industry has announced that a feasibility study is to be carried out on how to make land provided to her by other countries productive. Sessionary continues.
The land includes plots provided in Kenya, Tanzania, Djibouti, Congo, Brazzaville, and the Central African Republic. And the Ministry of Trade and Industry says measures are being taken to make it productive. The ministry is preparing a feasibility study on what sort of activities can be carried out on the land and the opportunities they present, things like warehouses, depot centers for things like petroleum products or economic zones in all those countries. The land that was provided in Djibouti is quite vast and can easily support such activities, and because it is close to the Red Sea, it provides many trade opportunities because that is where many products to and from Asia and Europe pass. Rwanda has also provided land for other countries, such as the plot in the Special Economic Zone that was given to Djibouti. Djibouti is yet to provide us with a feasibility study of what is to be done on that land. They might build factories and carry out other economic activities on it. Those in Rwanda's private sector see the land that the country has been given as having great potential to generate income as a dry port, seeing that Rwanda is a landlocked country. A port can be placed on such land, serving countries around Djibouti. For Rwanda, however, ports like the ones in Dar es Salaam and Mombasa are much closer. The land in Mombasa can certainly help us with importing products here in Rwanda, using it for temporary storage, saving the money some importers have to pay in fines when their goods remain in ports for longer than expected. They would still pay the fines, but at least the money would be coming to Rwanda. Some of the land provided for Rwanda by other countries is already being used by members of the private sector. I can tell you that the land that was given by the Central African Republic is being put to use, with some businessmen and women using it for agricultural practices and construction. We are also planning on using that land that was provided in Congo-Brazzaville. We intend to make the necessary effort to use the rest of the land that was provided as well as the private sector. It has also been pointed out that both countries involved must agree on what such land is to be used for before anything can be done on it. I believe land given to the country in that way is provided as property, not to say that it becomes an actual territory of Rwanda. It is land to be used for commercial activities, so the laws of the donor country must be respected because the land remains its own. Djibouti provided 60 hectares in its special economic zone, Tanzania provided 18 hectares at Isaka, and Kenya provided 13 hectares in Mombasa.
Also in the news today, the Rwanda Development Board says it is in talks with a Turkish company to bring air balloons in Rwanda, as they will assist in entertaining the tourists residing in Kigali. Jane Mutoni with the details.
Many tourists and residents in Kigali agree that there are no tourist places where one can go and relax or have fun. One of the tourists by the names of Gashaija Dorothy says she often comes to Kigali but does not spend much time in the city because there are no such places.
We could build paradise parks, that has every single thing you can think of in Kigali. We have very many swampy areas that we could reserve for very good paradise gardens for tourist attraction purposes. And I believe if we invested in a national theater, our artists would benefit greatly. Our kids would go and experience ancient Rwandan music industry and stories, art, comedy. It would not only bring in money for us, but it would also inspire young poets, young songwriters, young authors, young comedians, and those existing to even work harder and bring about more inspiring stories.
While the hotels were awarded stars based on the levels of services they provide, the CEO of the Rwanda Development Board, Claire Akamanzi, said there is a plan in place to launch a sports venue from Kigali Arena to the Amahoro Stadium.
One of the interesting projects we have is to create a sports city around the arena and the stadium. We have 2 investors we are currently working with. They're designing their project to bring entertainment around that area of Kigali Arena and Amahoro, so that it can become a place for sports and entertainment. And I think that's really going to be some of the big plans for diversifying tourism going forward. We signed a contract with a company called Duval. They will be putting in place a duty-free shopping mall. And the idea is to make it duty-free just like places like Dubai, where tourists can come here and also find other things to do like shopping, and giving them a good experience of shopping so that we can increase the money that stays in the country, but also the experience and offering that we have in the country. We're also working with a Turkish company on bringing air balloons. They already have their 2 air balloons in the country. They're supposed to be testing them with civil aviation. But those kinds of private initiatives to bring new products are things that we very much encourage, and it just enriches the whole experience that we are promoting for tourism in our country.
The Kigali authorities say they are expanding space where people can relax and have fun from.
We want this space to be vibrant and active, to facilitate basically the citizens to have a public space where they can sit and enjoy and relax. The space will have a free Wi-Fi, like the city garden we have here. It will facilitate people to meet and discuss and chill. The space we have a playground for kids where kids can come and play for free with their parents. It will have the kiosk where we can have a fast food, and also the business owners along this street will benefit a lot from this project.
The entertainment venues include what is known as the car-free zone in the city, which is being developed by a Singaporean company. The Nyandungu space will cost more than 4 billion Rwandan francs, and the space will start from Kigali Arena to the Amahoro Stadium, which is about 35 hectares. It will be sponsored by 2 investors.
Away from Kigali, the University of Rwanda has opened a dental clinic in its Rusizi branch after noticing an increase in the number of people in need of dental care services in the Western province. This is to help the residents there, and this will reduce the distances they travel in search of such services. Jane continues.
Habiyaremye Silas, a resident of Rusizi district who has been receiving treatment at this dental clinic with modern equipment, says he was suffering from dental problems and was missing out on medical treatment because he was told to seek treatment in Kigali. He says this clinic is a lifesaver to him. We now no longer have to travel all the way to Kigali for treatment, as well as saving us from the tickets we used when traveling. Ahimana Emmanuel is a student at the university who also says that they see this clinic as a solution because students with dental conditions had no other choice but to travel long distance for treatment, yet they don't have the financial means to afford it. Hence, some would miss out on classes. This means that no one will ever have to stay sick for a long time due to no nearby access to treatment, and the fact that we no longer have to spend so much on the tickets to remote areas. All these are benefits. This dental clinic comes as a solution because dental health is essential to one's health. Rosine Uwimbabazi, a nurse who is in charge of the health of students at the University of Rwanda in Rusizi, says many students miss out on classes while seeking dental treatment at a distant clinic because she didn't have the capacity to treat them. She says this clinic will benefit both the community and the students. Before this clinic was established, students used to come to us with dental problems, and because we didn't have the capacity to treat them, they would then have to travel all the way to Kigali and miss out on classes. But now they just have to come at the clinic, receive treatment, and then go back to class. A dental specialist and director of this clinic, Dr. Patrick Rugamba, explains the uniqueness of this clinic. We have various services like root canal treatment, providing dental implants, whereby some people request for replacements where they lost a tooth. We also provide braces for teeth, as some people were traveling to Kigali in order to get braces. Another service that we have, which can't be found anywhere else in this province, is that of performing X-rays, which show how far the infection has reached in the tooth. Dr. Patrick also said that the clinic was established in order to reach out to the people in the Western province due to the rapid increase in the number of patients with oral diseases, as he proceeded to giving advice to the community. Firstly, one should always clean their oral area at least twice a day, and by that I mean in the morning. One should brush after taking breakfast with a brush that is below 3 months old. The second thing that Rwandans need to know is that it is essential to visit a dentist at least twice a year. This dental clinic in the premises of the University of Rwanda Rusizi branch has been operating for the past 3 weeks, though it has not yet started working with insurances. They say they have already negotiated with various insurance companies such that in no time, those with insurances will be treated as in other hospitals. The equipment at the clinic is worth 100 million Rwandan francs.
We will leave it at that for today. Thank you for the privilege of your time. I wish you all a wonderful week ahead. Of course, not forgetting to remind you to do all that's required of you to stop the spread of the pandemic. Otherwise, God bless you and keep you. And until next time, I'm Gloria Mutesi. Bye for now.